If you look up entrepreneurship on Google, I guarantee one of three things is gonna pop up. E-commerce, you should probably start a drop shipping company. Fast trading, buy crypto and wait for it to pump up and then sell it. Or the super popular digital marketing thing I see on Instagram Reels all the time and TikTok, where people buy a course and sell it for a crazy amount of money and people buy it. And although these things work and they have worked and people prove it all the time on those same exact Reels and TikToks, that's never something I would recommend. The truth is that almost every successful person I've met in my life has built their success off of one type of business, and that's a really great service. Today I'm gonna talk about how picking up a camera and becoming the best photographer in your city, or taking a course on graphic design and selling to your local businesses is not only the most efficient way to start making $10,000 a month, but it's the route with the absolute most longevity.
Right? The goal is to be so different from everyone else in the marketplace that people have to consider you on their own by being so good that no one else can compete with you.
Hey, what's going on? My name is Andres Tagliaferra, but you can just call me Tags. And if you're new to the channel, we talk about all things content creation and entrepreneurship. So if you want to learn more about how to make better content and how to make money creating that content, go ahead and like the video, subscribe, and don't forget to follow me on Threads where I post daily tips and much more. So you heard it here first. Look, I know that intro was kind of sensational, and look, I want to reiterate that, you know, e-commerce and building a Shopify store and building great products that people buy isn't a bad business. Neither is becoming a teacher and selling your course. Neither is investing your money in stocks and other avenues that make your money work for you. These are great things, but I do believe that in order for these to succeed, there's a lot of non-controllables, things out of your control that have to happen for them to pop off and succeed. And if not that, then you need to have some sort of platform or partnership to really make them work. So look, if you're in a position where you can start a product line with a friend who has capital, or if you're in a position to make any of those things work, then go ahead and go crazy. But I'm talking to the person who wants to know how to start making $10,000 a month by yourself. There's not a lot of ways to do that outside of a regular job. And by the way, to make $10,000 a month with a regular job, you need to be like a super high level position, which takes years to grind in the corporate thing. Like it's a whole thing. Trust me, I was actually an internal creative director at a corporate business, so I know all about that kind of life. And I also know what it's like to build a business to where you have $40,000 months, $10,000 months, and where you can just retain a solid stream of income, opposite to popular belief that if you're a photographer, videographer, or designer that you can't make money, and that's just not true. And in this video, I'm going to tell you exactly why building some sort of service-based business is actually the best thing you can do. But the first reason why a service-based business can earn you a high amount of money for a long period of time is that selling a service has a higher ceiling by yourself than selling a product or doing any of the other things. And what I mean by that is that you can charge more for that specific service over time. The thing about selling a product is that very seldom do you see the same exact product rising in value per independent product, right? It's usually the only way you scale a product-based business is by selling volume, selling more of the same product. The beauty about being a photographer, videographer, graphic designer, writer, any of these service-based things, even outside of the creative field, right? Landscaping, all of these other things that require you serving somebody else, is that you can choose to charge more over time. And that is actually a standard practice in the creative industry. Right now, what I charge for the same 30-second video than what I used to charge 8 years ago has substantially increased. When I first got into the videography game as a commercial videographer, I was making, when I started actually making money from it and not just making free videos for businesses, I was making about $100 a video. And a video would entail like a commercial for 30 seconds to a minute long. Something like that today, I usually don't sell for anything less than around $3,000. And so if you're looking at something like this, if you're looking at longevity, you're looking at how can I realistically make a consistent amount of money doing something that I enjoy doing, I really do think that picking a craft that you really like again, if you drew as a kid or if you did something artistic, then graphic design might be a great vertical for you to really skill stack and become a great graphic designer. Start a studio. You know, these are things that you can do to scale and make more money over time that doesn't involve, you know, you blowing up on TikTok for, you know, showing how much money you make a month to sell a course, right? It doesn't include, making a huge risk like putting $10,000 into this random meme coin and hoping it blows up, right? It doesn't include these things that a lot of our daily entrepreneurs are talking about. It's simply all about your ability to provide the service and your ability to create more opportunity with that service. Piggybacking off of that, the second point I want to talk about is that a great service actually outlives basically any other type of sale. If you think about a product, for the most part, when you see a product online or you see a product pop up on your Instagram shop, you're probably only going to buy that product one time, right? When you're trying to sell some sort of course, you're probably only going to sell that course one time. The beauty about a service is that once you become the best photographer in your area, the best designer in your area, people are going to come to you repeatedly because content is a commodity nowadays. People use Instagram to push their business. People use Instagram to show the growth of their family, right? There's a lot of photographers I know who families pick them as their yearly photographer for their yearly family photos. These are things that create longevity for you, unlike trying to build a super mega successful product like Prime or something crazy like that. That again, it's not that it's a bad idea, but it takes a lot of non-controllables, things you can't control. Skill stacking and learning how to do a service isn't really about making you money in the moment short term, even though you can do that. It's more about creating a business model and building a reputation allows you to retain that income for longer. I still have clients that I had 5 years ago who still pay me for my services because I crushed it on the first time. If you are a content creator and you're iffy, you don't know if it's really worth making a business, it's actually a really good business model. You just have to be really good at it, right? And so that's really the deterrent of this thing. And maybe the one drawback that, there's a lot of content creators, there's a lot of photographers, a lot of videographers, a lot of designers, there's a lot of content strategists, there's a lot of people who give services. So solidifying yourself and differentiating yourself is the hard part. But once you find your pocket of people, once you find your first 5 clients who can pay you $2,000 a month, that's $10,000 a month. So understanding that it's not just a short-term play, not just a get-rich-quick scheme, that's so hard to say, is one of the most important things, because you know that this isn't going to be something you can just come up in and then that's it. You know that it's actually something you can invest into because it's going to lead to more opportunity over time. Okay, and the last reason, which there's so many more, and maybe I'll make another video, part 2 or something, but the last thing that I think is super cool about building a service-based business is that once you've built up enough brand awareness, people know you have clients, you're killing it, you can actually sell other things around your business, right? You can actually create a product from your service-based business that will work. And there's a creative agency called Friend that I follow. They're super sick. They actually started a creative studio where they do content for other companies. Really cool stuff for like Domino's and other stuff, flash photography, really cool like gritty stuff. And they used that awareness that they garnered from their creative studio to build a clothing brand. And the clothing brand is arguably cooler than their work on their agency side. But they were able to build this other vertical from that first business, a service-based business. There's no better way to grow your reputation in a city than offering something to somebody, right? Trying to get someone to buy a physical thing is kind of hard, but going up to somebody and say, hey, I know I could crush it for your pizza shop by doing a really cool photo shoot. Would you like to do it? That's a way easier thing to say yes to. Building a service-based business isn't just about that first business that you're building, but it's about growing your reputation. You are growing your reputation as a person who wants to give to the community, which means that when you do launch some sort of product, you have a level of trust. And on top of that, not only can you build supplementary businesses around your service, right? It's a lot easier to upsell when you're doing a service-based business. Let me give you an example. I do videography as my main product, right? So I'll go and I'll shoot some sort of interview for a company, right? For their customer stories, right? And then when we're done with the project, I deliver it. They love it. Maybe I'll send a follow-up email a month later. Hey, I saw that this video is crushing it on your social media, or I see that you're getting a lot of conversions on your website. I was wondering if you want me to cut up like 3 more versions of this interview with, different clips, different sound that you can use for ads. And then boom, that's another 3K, that's another 6K, that's another X amount of money from a project that you already finished, you already completed, you already did the work for. There's just a lot of things you can build around a service-based business that you can't do with other more straightforward approaches like selling a product. You know, building a service allows you to do so many things. And if you pick to put all your eggs in one basket, and if you were choosing today to pick something to do, something to learn, to set you up for the next 20 years of your life, I would recommend becoming a photographer professionally, becoming a videographer professionally, picking up a camera and becoming the best with that camera in your area, in your school. There's so many people who are just crushing it by just doing senior photos in their college campus, making crazy amount of bread. A lot of different ways to do it. Maybe I'll cover some of them in another video. If you enjoyed this, if this helped you reach a different level in your head, maybe you were thinking you had to build the biggest clothing brand to make any sort of money, and you realize, man, I can actually do what I love doing full time, and you want to learn more about how to do that, then click on this video to hear my story of how I made my first $40,000 with just a $500 camera setup. If you haven't already, subscribe, like the video, and remember to stay grateful. Peace.